I want to show you a real quick setup for the photosynthesis experiment. So I've got most of my stuff here. I'm going to start out by punching leaf discs. So this is from a wisteria and this is from a jasmine. You can see these are both pretty good for what we want to do. They're pretty thin. They're not super waxy, a little bit waxy, but you couldn't like scrape off a whole layer of wax from that one. And they're not super hairy. The wisteria is a little tiny bit fuzzy, but you can see it's not a super hairy leaf. All that's going to do is make it so that the solution gets into the leaf more easily. So I'm just taking a hole punch and I'm going to punch a few holes out. Okay. So just dropping them there. Do a couple for my wisteria. You can keep these samples separate or you can put them together. Now you can also use a metal straw for this. Which I forgot to get out ahead of time. There we go. So you can use a metal straw for this too, and for the metal straw you just put it down on a firm surface and punch out a hole by twisting. It can also work for a regular straw as long as it's pretty strong. You can see you get a little leaf disc out from that also. Alright, so once you have 10, you're going to take your syringe and you're going to pop your leaf discs right into the barrel of the syringe. So I'm going to grab mine. They're always so hard to get because they're always want to stick to everything and they're so thin. So I'm not putting in quite 10 because I actually already did this. So now they're in the barrel of the syringe and I'm going to put in the plunger. Okay, and I want to not squish them, but I want to get out as much air as possible. Okay, but I do not want to crush my leaves. Okay, so I'm going to make my solutions now. So I need some dilute soap. So I'm going to put in a drop of soap into this bowl that has a tiny bit of water in it. There we go. And give it a little stir. I need about a drop of this, so I'm just going to triple drop it since I forgot my pipetters at work. Okay, so this now has a little soap in it. I'm going to take 1/8 of a teaspoon of baking soda, and you can see this is at 300 mils right now. That's just about a little over a cup, about a cup and a quarter or so. I put it in your notes. And about 1/8 of a teaspoon. And it should go into solution really fast, the baking soda. There we go. So this now is our baking soda solution, or sodium bicarbonate solution. And I'm going to suck it up into here. And now I'm going to replace the air in the mesophyll of the leaves with the baking soda solution. So this is the only tricky part, I think, of the whole thing. So I want to get these kind of suspended in the solution a little bit. And you can see that my leaf discs are floating right now. So wherever the top is, they're going to want to float up to it. And that's because they're full of air. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to first squirt out any excess air at the tip of this. So I have a tiny little bit of air at the top. I'm just going to squirt it out till I get some liquid coming out. And actually I have too much liquid right now, so I'm going to let out a little bit. So now I'm going to create a vacuum. So I put my finger over the tip of this and I'm going to pull hard on the barrel. Now I don't want to pull so hard that I yank the whole the plunger. I don't want to pull so hard that I yank the whole plunger out. So I'm just going to pull a little bit. Okay. So I'm pulling as hard as I can. Maybe for about 10 seconds or so. And I'm going to repeat this maybe 3 times until the leaf discs start to sink. Okay. So I'm going to tap, 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 and I can see that they're already starting to sink. Some of them are sinking, some of them are floating. So I'm going to squirt out any excess gas that I got when I did that and do it again. So I'm going to pull on my plunger. You can see all those neat bubbles that are forming. Give it a little jiggle. Try to get them infiltrated in here. Okay. And so you can see that got about half of my leaf discs. Oh, sorry, you couldn't see it. About half of my leaf discs are sinking and about half are still floating, and you can flick on the syringe to see if they'll float down or sink down, I suppose. Okay, so some are floating, some are sinking. So you just repeat this again until they're all sinking. Now, if none of them are sinking after you do this 2 times, then you can add another little tiny drop of dish soap to your solution and replace the solution. So I'll just show you how to replace the solution really quick. So you can just squirt this right back in there. It's totally fine. Okay, it's all the way out. And then suck in fresh solution right back up again. Okay. And again, make sure there's no air left over in here. I have some bubbles at the bottom that I'm not going to worry too much about right now. Then I'm going to make the vacuum. Okay, and so making the vacuum is what's going to force out the air and force in my solution. I got one stuck at the top there. That's going to make me crazy. All right. So that's how we do this. And then you're going to pour out some of your solution, get it down to about 1 inch off the bottom or so, and then pop your leaves right in. How do you get your leaves out? Well, that's actually kind of easy. You just pull the plunger out. And you're gonna have some left over in there. So I was just kind of filling this up with water, and then washing out my extra leaves. So putting in a little bit of water, or my solution, I should say. There we go. And I got them all out. So now I can rinse this out and reuse it for the water ones, where I infiltrate the leaves with just plain water and let them sit in water. So if you can see this, you can see some of my leaves are floating and some have already sunk down.